Good, good evening. Welcome to Community Engagement with Burhan Gwin. Welcome to our broadcast.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you, Burhan, for having me.
Thank you. And Zach, I know you're running Franklin County Common Plea Court Division. Those who don't know a little about your background, can you talk about a little bit about your background and why you're running this position as well?
Sure. My name is Zach Gwin. I'm an assistant city attorney with the Columbus City Attorney's Office. Prior to attending law school, I worked as a victim witness advocate in Stark County, Ohio. And the role of the victim witness advocate is to help victims of crime and their families kind of navigate the justice system. Obviously, there's always a lot of focus on the individual charge, sometimes the investigation. And it's important that making sure that victims and their families understand process that the case is actually going through and where everything is at that time. Also, prior to attending law school, I worked in Washington, D.C. for Senator Sherrod Brown, then attended law school at the Ohio State University, Moritz College of Law. And during that time, started working under former Columbus City Attorney Richard C. Pfeiffer at the Columbus City Attorney's Office, first as an intern. Then after I passed, I was hired on as an assistant city prosecutor. And so I prosecuted cases in front of judges and juries here in Franklin County, cases ranging from traffic offenses, OVIs, DUIs, to assault, domestic violence, up to vehicular manslaughter. So prosecuted cases for a period of time and then left shortly and was in private practice. And I handled some criminal defense representing individuals who were charged with offenses. Also handled some civil litigation for folks suing employers or suing other private individuals. Around this time, moved over to the west side of the city and became very involved in some of our most under-resourced communities here in Franklinton and Hilltop, and was called back to the Columbus City Attorney's Office to be a community attorney. And in that role, represent the city, including Department of Development, Code Enforcement, Zoning Enforcement, Columbus Police, Columbus Fire, different entities to address public nuisance conditions. And then we exclusively prosecute cases for injunctive relief in the environmental division. So these are things like landlords not taking care of properties or owners not taking care of properties, locations with chronic criminal activity, filing nuisance abatement actions to stop that activity and really just try to improve health and safety in our neighborhoods.
Wow, that shows a lot of public service. That shows you've been able to help all your life in public service. And one of the questions, there's a lot of new Americans connect with us and who pretty much have multiple needs. What does the Ohio Court of Common Pleas do? Services?
Yeah. So Franklin County Common Pleas General Division, the division that I am running in, handles all felonies that would happen within Franklin County. It includes cases for injunctive relief, much like the ones that I currently handle in the environmental division, handles all civil cases for damages in excess of $15,000, and then handles certain administrative appeals. So these are really the most serious cases that we see in Franklin County would all come in front of this general division, Franklin County Common Pleas.
Wow, because I know you talk about, was a vulnerable community, was being have issues in terms of landlord, haven't done anything. You advocated more public service, basically helping people to navigate, those who committed a crime, those who doing toxic or environmental issues. We appreciate you. But another thing is we talk about a lot of the court system. A lot of people don't have access. A lot of people don't have access. Are you willing to come educate more about new Americans who face multiple, not knowing the court, not the legal framework of here, but they have multiple, they don't know how to complain, how to things. Are you willing to be able educate more into come back to the community in terms of some of those aspects you just talked about?
Absolutely. That's a very high priority for me when I take the bench, hopefully here in the next few months. So what I would say is that I have a great background that I think would be very helpful for making that happen for two ways. One, my work within the Somali community, starting off, first became involved. Muhammad Jama from the Somali Post got me started working with tenants over at River Point Apartments. A lot of the housing conditions over there were poor, tenants were complaining. And so we tried to make sure that we were connecting them with the right code enforcement officers to bring that to the attention of the owner and make sure that those repairs were happening. Also, over the past year, we've been doing engagement with ownership of Wedgwood Village apartments and looking at some of the health and safety issues, making sure that the owners are making investments to make sure that their properties are safe and healthy environments for their residents. And then most recently, I filed one of the largest public nuisance lawsuits in the history of the city against South Park Apartments, which also houses predominantly members of the Somali community. And so what I've really had the opportunity to do is work with members of the Somali community, including youth over at Wedgwood Village Apartments. And so I believe that I've been able to make those connections that when I do take the bench and I do have the opportunity, I can bring folks from the community in. I have those connections. The other thing that I think really helps is I was able to start our own specialty docket in the environmental division. This was for something called the Owner Occupied Initiative. And the idea was we wanted to bring resources to people who, through no fault of their own, might have not been able to afford to make repairs to their homes. And so we said, how do we find resources? So we looked at the Columbus Legal Aid Society. We looked at Habitat for Humanity, social workers through Columbus Public Health. And so through that, I've been able to build very good relationships with members of Legal Aid Society, folks who are focused on access to justice. And I think those two big projects, those two big accomplishments that I've had, I think they play well into each other in making sure that we're able to get to the Somali community, make sure that they feel included, make sure that they understand their rights, things like that. And that's something that I promise to do moving forward.
Wonderful. We know many ethnic backgrounds, many minority communities deal with a lot of mental health issues. I know you're running the court for the county police court division and general division. I know that a lot of the crime comes that area, but we pretty much lack of mental health advocates in terms of advocating more in the court. So what's your intent in terms of mental health capacity to help those who really dealing with some type of mental health problems, because that's a big issue.
Yeah, a major concern. And in my experience working in municipal court with some of the specialty dockets there, I actually was the prosecutor assigned to the drug diversion courtroom. So I understand what it is like to work in specialty dockets. And I know Judge Munson recently started a mental health docket in Franklin County Common Pleas Court. And of course, I would be supportive of, anything to support that type of programming, making sure people get the help that they need, that I think we all recognize is very much needed in our community.
Yeah, because that's huge, especially the mental health that has deals with COVID. We can post-COVID now. We're seeing that number increase in terms of, multiple attitudes of mental health. But also, what type of cases heard in general division from the county common pleas court? Most of the cases. Can you talk about more about what cases they accepted and what cases not accepted?
Yeah, so especially cases where you're going to be involving mental health counseling, you're looking at a lot of the felony offenses, violence, things like that, and trying to look at things that cause individuals to come to the place that they are. What sort of mental health issues led to them, getting into cycles of addiction or harming someone, and really trying to make sure that the person has the resources they need on the mental health side of things. So using the criminal docket, making sure that there are diversion opportunities and proper assessments taking place. That's where I think we'd have the most kind of intersection there.
I'm glad you mentioned, because a lot of people now, we have a young students who really want to advocate in terms of legal system. We have a young generation of college students who go to law school right now. A lot of time we liking, networking in terms of, accessing legal framework, because they don't have somebody to navigate them while they're in school. A lot of people don't have privilege, to get that, somebody able to do that. So we have a few young who are now in law school who really wants to be able to get their hands on expertise to kind of like intern. Are you willing to help the young generation to live to know, get that access? Because we have struggled many years to give that in terms of the internships for the young, especially legal framework.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's so important that our young folks are able to get into a system, and it's not just affecting them. They can actually go in on their own time and make sure they learn about how the system works, and then they might become inspired. Maybe they, decide they want to be an attorney, or they want to have some other role in the justice system, whether as a probation officer, a public defender, anything like that. I think it's so important that folks are exposed to those type of experiences early in life. I've been lucky to be able to show certain students through the municipal courthouse and show them how the dockets run, and then working with the Hilltop Tigers soccer team, and then also as at
Yes.
times an assistant wrestling coach in Upper Arlington. I've always enjoyed the opportunity to help work with young people.
Thank you. Thank you. I mean, you shown demonstration, you have record on public servant, underserved communities, which is, we appreciate you for advocating and have that expertise. It's important. Somebody we need, the court knows, how to people, they walked before, not familiar with them, their issues, their struggle. We appreciate that. So another term limit, is that 6 years in terms of term limit?
It is a 6-year term, and for judges in Ohio, the age limit to take the bench or to swear in is 70 years old.
Wow. And no, this election is a very critical election. There's a lot of things in the state. There's a lot of issues in the state. And we encourage everybody who's watching and who willing to be able to watch. Please, tomorrow is the last day. It's open 7 until 7:30. Please make sure you go vote. It's very crucial. Judges are important. We make sure that you really go up and down ticket and make sure that you really come in and engaged, because the judges impact every single day. I know Zach Will is somebody who's a friend with the diverse communities in Central Ohio. That's why this program is designed for New Americans to be able to understand some of the issues they're facing, legal and stuff. So one of the last questions is, what you're going to tell New Americans tonight, if you have opportunity right now to let them know tomorrow is the last day to be voting. So
I just want to tell everybody, please take the 10, 20 minutes out of your day, find your polling location, head on down there and cast your ballot. It is a right that so many people have fought very hard for. And it is an honor to do it. And as some folks up at the board of elections have been joking, you can't complain if you don't vote. So this is your opportunity to make your voice heard. We have a lot of very important races on the ticket this year. And please make sure that you finish the ballot. You go all the way down from the big races like the governor and the U.S. senator, and then you head all the way down to us judges. And please make sure to cast your ballot. And I would kindly ask you to vote for Zach Gwin and Win with Gwin in November.
Yep, like you heard, Zach is somebody who's really engaged, more diverse in Central Ohio, always willing to work with the people, open to mind, to always advocate, and we welcome him. Always to come back, Zach, to our broadcast next time we elected. We appreciate you for your time, and please consider, Zach Gwin. He's really young. Understands the diversity of the issues that we're dealing with, somebody who's really trying to make an impact. So those we needed to be put on the judges. That's matter. Judge matters. Please be consider all the judges, from the county who really impacted, trying to make sure that everybody get fair share on the legal system. Judge matters is very important. Up and down ticket is very important. Tomorrow is open ball 7. Please make sure you ball the locations. Make sure you really get a vote and bring your friends and family. This election is it's a very serious election. Please make sure you participate. Zach, thank you, and we appreciate you. Welcome to, again, we appreciate you, Community Engagement Brahan, for your dedication, your time, your public service, and folks are definitely supporting you and definitely will messaging everybody. We appreciate your time and coming tonight.
Thank you so much. It's been an honor to be on the podcast, and it has been an honor to be up there on Morse Road with you almost every day. I think maybe every single day, just getting out there, talking to voters and learning about what issues are really important to folks. And so I really appreciate the opportunity. Thanks.
Thank you, Zach, and appreciate it.